I'm struggling with this thing here. Damn, I can't see it. You got the, there we go. All right.
We got you.
Now you get the pretty face. I got it. What's up? All
Well,
right.
congratulations to you and your guys, 4-0 now in CAA play after that 58-17 win at U Albany. You've had some good performances across the season to be 4-0, but was this maybe the most complete effort you've had all year?
Yeah, you always ask the leading question with the answer already. Yeah, absolutely it was. It was the game we were after, in terms of being able to produce in all three phases of the game. I thought have an opportunity to start fast. I mean, it went right for us right from the get-go. Opening kick, just the coin toss. We love getting the win on that and deferring and be able to play for the second half. And then, uh, we just had an opportunity to go out and play extremely well in all three phases. As always, you walk away from a game like that with a number of things that you still need to improve. I think our penalties at 11 is atrocious. There's a number of reasons for that. We got to coach that better as best as we possibly can. But and it took back some significant yardage, some significant plays, but it was an overall really impressive performance, particularly by our quarterback and AJ, both you guys that have been recognized by the conference, and I know they appreciate that. And but there was some really special stuff that happened on the field on Saturday.
Let's start with Devin. 19 and 20, 333 and four touchdowns. Misses the first one, and then 19 in a row after that. We've talked about him a lot and seen him grow over the years. How good was that performance?
What was really cool is, and it really speaks for our whole team. I mean, the things I saw in practice during the course of the week transpired into the game. And, Devin was on, really throwing incredible balls during the course of the week. But then you see you got to do it under duress and do it under pressure. I think that he has improved every week. I give great tribute to, Coach Flanagan and the offensive staff. I think they got some dialed up some really good matchups, which we sprung some people free. But I mean, you just can't find a better throw and catch that you saw with between him and Gaines on the big deep one. And then, I mean, Gaines is on his back and catches the thing, dropped in right over the hand of the DB, and then Finer's catch in the right corner of the end zone was something spectacular as well. Dev just played a complete game, and one that, I about fell over with was when he avoided a rush, scrambled to his left and then dropped the dime on Greg for about a 35-yard gain. I mean, it was a very confident feeling as a coach to be able to see that kind of stuff going offensively, and then obviously the other parts that we're able to get going as well.
Question for Steve. Yes, question, Steve.
Thanks, Rob. Morning, Coach. Coach, second half, you got a chance to integrate some other players in there that haven't seen the field as much. Terrence Campbell being one. Good to get those guys out there.
That was really, really cool. I mean, when you sit there and look at some of the firsts that happened in the game for individuals, it was fun. I mean, Terrence Campbell got in there, his number was called and he went in there, and acted like a little bit more than a true freshman. He grabbed the ball, he ran hard. He looked like a Littleton Jr. out there. Gabe Winovich had some nice throws, nice runs. And then I was just really thrilled to death to see Connor Kenyon get in there, completed the last drive of the game and had a chance to throw the ball to Will Dixon for his first touchdown. So there was a lot of things that, we've been waiting to have the opportunity to do, and to give these kids, opportunity to get out there and perform on the game fields is something they work very hard for. And I was glad we were able to be in control of the game to give us a chance to do that.
If I could follow up, if you could talk on both sides of the ball, third down conversions. You were 7 of 11, and Albany was 2 of 14 on third and fourth downs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big emphasis by our football program. I mean, it's the turnover margin piece, which has been big and finally flipped back our way in this football game. But third down efficiency is critically important to us all. Everyone that gets out on you, you cringe. I can deal with the third and ones and the third and twos. Those things are lost in the early downs. But when you get the third and 13s that pop in there, on defense, it hurts your feelings. But we've been able to do the same thing, offensively. I'm sure that we've created some hurt feelings on other defensive coordinators around the league, but that's the game. Get off the field when you can and continue and move the chains. And if you do that, you got a chance to be pretty dynamic.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Rob.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Jim, you touched on Greg Gaines' day and some of the spectacular catches he had. And Marquise gets so much attention, and rightly so. But Greg, 6 for 153, and those 2 touchdowns. Just talk about the day he had and how he compliments Marquise.
Well, they all complement each other. I mean, I think that you watch, what's happened over the course of the year with our pass game. You see, consistent guys coming up there with big games. Bora Kortang had one, I believe, at Stony Brook. They trade around who's going to be big. I don't know if it's as much about the defensive structure as it is just that our quarterback runs through progressions and he throws it to the open guy. But what's cool to see is, and if you look at the purity of football is that if you can, it's amazing what can get accomplished when no one cares who gets the credit. Now, human nature and egos, have a way of creeping in there. Everybody wants a little time in the sunshine, and when you work extremely hard, the nice thing to see and nice thing to continue to keep in front of kids is that you just keep working hard and your time will come. And Greg's, came up and had a huge monster game. I was thrilled for him because, it was good for our football team and it's good to see, guys step up when they have the opportunity to make big plays. And he's worked very hard for that game and he'll have more.
Question for you from Bill. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, guys. Jim, obviously AJ came back for a number of reasons, but one of them certainly was personal legacy and the fact that he had a chance to set a couple milestones here. Can you just speak to, what he's meant to the program, to coach him, and how happy you were for him to get the sacks record on Saturday?
As soon as I figured out he got it, it was on a touch, all he had to do was touch the dude. So I was thrilled for him. Um, what it's meant to us in our program, I just still remember as a freshman throwing him out there against Bryant, and he just went out there and rushed the passer. He really had no idea what he was doing, but he went fast and he went hard and he had a big game. And I took him he was asked to get into the press conference after that game, his true freshman year, and handle himself like a champ. I said, this kid's going to be something. To see his loyalty to our program, to be able to come back, I think I think certainly certain things that he wanted to achieve by his return, but I do believe his overall intent was, really, team oriented. He missed the guys. He wanted to be together. He wanted to lead. He wanted to be able to produce another opportunity at a championship. And he works extremely hard. He's a motivational kid for all of us. And, to see him come up with the milestones he's been able to overcome is really pretty cool. He's got the TFL record. Now he has the sack record, and I'm hoping he can continue to stack some numbers on top of that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Jim, your defense as a whole, 7 sacks. Obviously, AJ had the majority of them. Case Mankins with a couple. You were able to really put a lot of pressure on them. Just talk about the game plan going in and how effective they were.
But I think we do a really good job on the defensive side of the ball. Coach Lorani, Coach Lazard, Coach Gilmer, Coach Yancopoulos. The front 7 guys work extremely hard on a lot of twists and movements. It's difficult to pick up. They scheme it up. We sprinkle in the pressures when necessary. So you see, a number of guys in the sack category. Certainly when you have someone you have to pay attention to, like AJ, it may open up some things for some other people. But I think it's just a culmination of continuing to work hard and knowing that if you're paying attention to the fundamentals and details of the rush and the techniques that are taught, good things will happen. And we were fortunate to have that happen the other night. And it makes it a hard offense when you're getting people in your face at all times. And even if you don't get the sack, I saw Dante Bishop, twice, who we moved over from offensive line to D line. Take an offensive guard and push him all the way back into the quarterback. That restricts an escape lane and restricts some space. So a lot of credit to all those guys for a group effort.
Let's look ahead to Saturday. You're back at home against an in-state rival in Bryant. What are some of the challenges they present?
Well, I think they present quite a few, and I think it's again, your team that's 2-5. They had a nice win versus UMass and Bentley, but it was a double overtime loss to Campbell. They had a 2-point conversion possibility to Ty Towson. Maine got on him a little bit, and then Brown got him in the second half. They're coming off an off week. I think, the first thing I saw when I looked at their offense was the size of their offensive line. They looked to be, really big dudes. I know they're down to their second quarterback but the guy who's playing, is really dynamic with his feet and I think has a very live arm, can throw the outcut very well. And I like the running back. He's got some wiggle in him and runs and he's concerning. Then on defense, they may be the best defensive line we faced. I think, the Oddie kid can really, press and do some things that are going to create some problems. They play physical, they run to the ball. I have great respect for Coach Merritt and what he's done up there. And I have great respect for that football team. And I know they'll be motivated to come in here and get after us. So we're going to have to be ready. There's a lot on the line for us. But bottom line is we got an in-state rival that's coming in here that wants a piece of us, and we're going to have to be operating on all cylinders and ready to go ahead and match the physicality. So it'll be another tough football game.
All right, Jim, thanks as always for the time here this morning, and I look forward to talking again next Monday.